What's good? What's good? We're back. Yours truly, the one and only Paul Pickett, host of the Paul Pickett podcast. This is episode 132. 132 of Paul Pickett podcast. Before I get started, first things first, I want to say rest in peace to the great DJ K Slay. He passed away Easter Sunday. He's been battling 3 to 4 months of complications from COVID, and it pretty much, you know, took over in the long run, and he passed away. K. Slade was one of the most influential record breakers of my lifetime, and in hip hop in general. Definitely had tons of influence. Um, and one of the top record breakers. I mean, like when you think about like getting just one person to break your record, I mean, he's like got to be at the top of the list. You know what I'm saying? Funk Flex, K Slay. Um, these guys just have more power and influence to break records than most people on the planet, man. Or he did, you know. So rest in peace to K Slay. Just give a moment of silence for a second on the passing of K Slay. Rest in peace, K Slay. Um, Before I get started, don't forget the video version of my podcast goes to Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, Rumble, and we also take the video and we stream it on 3 of our Twitter accounts, which would be Twitter at Paul P Podcast, Twitter at Paul W Pickett, and Twitter at Promo Palace LLC. Sometimes we'll stream on Twitter at IndieCastle and Twitter at Urban Obsessions, as well as I have 5 Twitter accounts. Also, don't forget the audio version of my podcast will be uploaded to Spotify, Apple, Amazon, Deezer, TuneIn, Stitcher, Slacker, iHeartRadio, Player FM, Podchaser, Podcast Addict, and much, much more. So definitely follow us on all those platforms. First things first, let me get into last night's NBA scores. Philly beat Toronto. They're up 2-0 on Toronto. Toronto definitely has a lot of injuries, so I might see them winning a game, if that. Utah lost to Dallas, which is really crazy. I said if Dallas figures out a way to win a game while Luka's gone, Luka could come back and they could win this series because Luka's clearly will be the best player on the court if he's healthy in this series. And Donovan Mitchell, I mean, like, you know, Donovan Mitchell did his thing. But hold on, let me go over these box scores first. Toronto and Philly. Um, OG Anunoby put up 26. Pascal 20. Fred VanVleet. Sixers did their thing pretty much. They all scored in double figures. Danny Green had 11 with 2 blocks, 1 steal, 3 assists. 20 points from Tobias Harris. So he's put up 20 points in both of these games with 10 rebounds and 3 blocks. So dudes are playing defense. Missed 5 blocks total right there from the forwards. We got 31 out of Embiid and 11 rebounds. 23 points, 9 rebounds, and 8 assists from Tyrese Maxey. So he's definitely been doing his job so far in the playoffs. And James Harden just ain't looking the same. I mean, he put up 14, 6 and 6 with 3 steals and 2 blocks. I mean, he playing defense, you know. Then they didn't really get much off the bench, but they didn't need much off the bench. You got 23, 31, 20, 14, and 11 from the starters. And then you got 2 blocks, 3 blocks. You got literally, what do we got? 9 blocks from the starters and 5 steals, 9 blocks from the starters, and then the points, man. You can't. There ain't much you're gonna do with that, man. There's not much you are going to do with that. And Utah lost to Dallas because Jalen Brunson just like put up a 40-piece wing dinner. You got egg points. I mean, you're not gonna win with that. You got 21 from Jordan Clarkson, but I mean, he's the only guy coming off the bench doing anything. And then you got 41-piece wing dinner from Jalen Brunson and 25 from Maxi I was about to say Keebler. Maxi Keeber. And then Spencer Dinwiddie put up 17. 41, 5 assists, 8 rebounds, 2 steals from Brunson. Reggie Bullock put up 11, 4 assists, 1 steals, 4 rebounds. 17 points from Dinwiddie with 6 assists and 2 steals. And then 25, 6 from Keeber. Good for Utah, man. Utah should have not. There's no way Utah should have lost that game. And then Golden State beat Denver. They got Steph Curry coming off the bench, man. I mean, 12 from whoever Bones Highland is. I mean, they just don't got enough, man. Nobody else scored 20. You needed like 2 or 3 players scored 20 points come playoff time. Especially when you got 21 from Clay, 29 from Jordan Poole, and 34 from Steph. Jordan Poole's averaging 30 points a game right now in the playoffs. And I do think the Warriors are going to they're going to have one of those good problems coming up soon when they're going to have to make a decision if they're going to keep Clay or Jordan. Because Jordan Poole is going to be due for a big contract here real soon. He keeps that up. All right, we got tonight's games are Atlanta, Miami. It's going to be tough. I'm going to go with Miami. Minnesota, Memphis. I'm going to go with Memphis. But if Minnesota wins this game, the series is over. Memphis won't stand a chance. Phoenix and New Orleans, and I'm going Phoenix. I've seen something in NFL, which before I get into that, let me we're gonna upload a video and we're gonna give you a word from one of our sponsors. Don't forget, hit that like, hit that share, hit comment, subscribe. Don't forget on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, Rumble, Twitter, and more. But let's get into a word from our sponsor.
Me and my team, whenever we link up, they're gonna be drink up. We sit down, relax and have few glasses when there's things to think about. Like I'm nice with the boss when I tend to the boss, and I'm not talking drink ups. So tell the bartender that tended the bar to please pass me a big cup up. And tell that waitress is waiting on us to put a little ice in it. Now watch the ice become weightless like the spaceships that I be sitting in. Now wait and listen, they're waiting for that tropical twist that'll tickle your taste buds. Now taste some. Now I insist it's the Dizzle.
Check it out, dizzlebrand.com. Just add ice, Dizzle on ice. Step into the future. Do you dizzle? Yes, I dizzle. Got a couple bottles in there right now. You can order merchandise on there. Get the t-shirts, the hats, the hoodies. Also, go to dizzlebrand.com. Click on our locations and the top 3 links. You can order your very own bottle of Dizzle as long as you're age 21 and up. And then there's a bunch of other locations in California. We just hit the Midwest as well for dizzlebrand.com. Check us out, Dizzle. I'm hearing that the Panthers might be interested in Baker Mayfield. I analyzed this, and apparently Robbie Anderson came out and commented on a post saying he don't want Baker there. All due respect to Robbie Anderson, who the fuck are you to act like you dictate a quarterback coming to any team in the NFL? Like, if you ain't made a Pro Bowl in your entire life, shut the fuck up thinking you dictate quarterbacks coming to a team. And all due respect to Robbie Anderson, Baker Mayfield is a better quarterback than Sam Darnold. Sam Darnold has yet to have a winning season. Sam Darnold has yet to make playoffs. Sam Darnold has yet to win half of his games in a season. So Baker Mayfield is clearly an upgrade. Now, is Baker Mayfield a long-term solution for Carolina Panthers? Probably not. But Baker Mayfield, having Christian McCaffrey and Robbie Anderson and who else, I would think the Panthers would be a hell of a lot better. Right now, to be honest with you, it would be a smart move for the Panthers because it would at least should get them to number 2 in the NFC South behind the Buccaneers. They definitely should be better than the Atlanta Falcons and the Saints if they get Baker Mayfield. If they keep Sam Darnold, I don't even know that we're better than any of those teams. We might be 3rd or 4th, but I think Baker Mayfield does keep us at 2nd, possibly a wild card. I think the Panthers should go for it. And I really do. I think they should go for it. It can't be any worse than Sam Darnold. It's not like we're going to win any games this year with Sam Darnold. You can't waste too much of Christian McCaffrey before we have to trade him as well. So there's that. And if the Seahawks get him, then I don't know what the Panthers are going to do. I don't know that we're drafting a quarterback. Who knows? Maybe we do draft Kenny Pickett. No relation. Kenny Pickett is no relation to yours truly, Paul Pickett, but we'll see. We don't know how that's going to go. But I think that Carolina Panthers should roll the dice, go after Baker Mayfield. It should be considered an upgrade from Sam Darnold. It really should. And I don't even know why they went after Sam Darnold in the first place. What the hell were they thinking? These people in the pros that call themselves professionals, they're not experts. I can tell you that much. They might be professionals, but they sure as hell ain't experts. Because it didn't take a rocket scientist to realize Sam Darnold just ain't got what it takes. And I don't want to hear it's always the Jets, because now they got a whole nother quarterback, and let's see what he does this year. Let me go ahead and pull up another video from one of our sponsors, and then I'm gonna get into something that just intrigued me while I was watching The Godfather of Harlem. But before I do that, let's get into a word from our sponsor.
You a musician looking for music marketing and promotion? Then look no further than Promo Palace LLC, your one-stop shop for all music promotion services. Services include Spotify playlist pitching, YouTube video promotion, record pool promotion, blog placements, radio airplay promotion, SoundCloud promotion, and much more. With over 2,000 customers and over 10 years of experience in online promotion, Promo Palace LLC is a company you can trust. For more info, please go to promopalace.biz. See you there.
That is my lovely spokesperson for Promo Palace LLC. And yes, I own Promo Palace LLC. If you need online market promotions, go to promopalace.biz. We do SEO, social media ads, TikTok influencers, Instagram influencers, blog placements, press releases, playlist pitching, and much, much more. It's gonna be my last little topic. I'm gonna keep this podcast kind of short. I was watching Godfather of Harlem. And in Godfather Harlem, there's Malcolm X is in there heavily, or an actor that plays Malcolm X in the show, and it just he was doing the Ballot and the Bullet speech on the Godfather Harlem, and it really made me think, who did I kind of agree with more between Malcolm and Martin? And I have to agree with Malcolm a little more. I understand Martin, as a friend of mine told me, got a lot of his views from Gandhi, which was a very peaceful thing. But I think about Malcolm and the Ballot or the Bullet, and I think about how Martin really wasn't about violence; he was more peaceful. But Malcolm was like, more like you fight fire with fire, meaning you fight violence with violence, and I have to agree with that. Like, I was talking to a friend about this. This idea that if somebody punches you in the face or smacks you in the face, you turn the other cheek is just so bogus. It's so made up fairy tale. It's not even reality. Like, there's really only two options when somebody attacks you, somebody assaults you. You either run or you defend yourself. That's it. There's no third option. You run like a coward, or you man up or woman up, adult up, and defend yourself. This idea that somebody inflicts violence on you and your response is to just let them continue to inflict violence on you is so idiotic to me, so moronic. It's so coward-like. It's so weak-minded. It's so pathetic. It's so miserable of a mindset. I mean, if somebody assaults you with violence, you defend yourself with violence. You don't turn the other cheek and let them just keep smacking you and assaulting you. And this idea that a person should just let somebody commit violence on them and not defend themselves or try to flee from the violence is so pathetic to me. It's so stupid, idiotic, and moronic. It's not even how reality works. If somebody assaults you, you do what you have to get away from the assault, or you do what you have to defend yourself. And if your life depends on it, then it's kill or be killed. It's fight fire with fire, not get a bucket of water, So I agree with Malcolm. Also agree with Malcolm on this sense that I don't have a respect for a black man who prays to a white Jesus. I agree that with Malcolm that a black man should not be worshiping to the religion and God of their oppressors. When the religion was used, first of all, when their oppressors forced Christianity upon them, they put their little twists and turns on it. The slave masters, the slave owners put they little twist and turn on the Christianity, and no black man should be praying to a white Jesus. I don't pray to a white Jesus. Because first of all, if Jesus was real or is real, and he comes from the area that the Bible said he comes from, there is no white men there. There was Arabs and black men there. So there's that. So if Jesus is or was real, he sure as hell wasn't white. And, so I agree with Malcolm that the black man should not be praying to a white Jesus. Now, do I think Islam's any better? No, it's it's hypocritical as well as this, but Black Americans weren't enslaved by Islamic people and Muslim people in America. They were enslaved by hypocritical so-called fake Christians, So yeah, there's that. I agree with Malcolm that the black man should not be worshiping a white Jesus, which is the God and religion of the oppressor, of their ancestors' oppressor. In Africa, they wasn't praying to a white Jesus. And I don't know exactly what they were praying to. It could have been, more of praying to many gods, or who knows? Could have been more like on the sense of voodoo or anything, but I just know that it wasn't Jesus that Africans were praying to and that they worshiped to and they believed as God, So I do believe I do agree with Malcolm more than I did Martin. And, it was really fucked up what happened to both of them because, if I'm not mistaken, I believe Martin Luther King Jr. was assassinated by the white man, basically making a call on to assassinate him. And Malcolm was assassinated by black people within the Nation of Islam, because they viewed him to be a hypocrite for calling out hypocrisy. But, you're not necessarily a hypocrite when you call out hypocrisies, and yes, he did have a more violent approach or wanted to have a more violent approach. Fight fire with fire. And that's what you do. You fight fire with fire, when it comes to violence. You don't go get a bucket of water, try to put out a fire. And sometimes that don't even work. Sometimes the fire, it makes the fire spread even more, So, yeah, I agree with Malcolm on more than I did Martin. And both of them were great people, especially for their times. They both tried to accomplish great things. They both were, I guess, deemed as a threat. They were both deemed as a threat. Yeah, the Ballad of the Bullet, man. I don't know that any one vote makes a difference or votes make a difference. Especially the way the politics is set up with electoral votes and stuff like that. But yeah, basically, that was just what I got from watching The Godfather of Harlem and just Malcolm X character in there, or the actor just playing Malcolm X in there. He did a great job as well. He looked just like Malcolm, probably even more than Denzel did. And I probably would say he did probably a better job of playing that role than Denzel. But I think I agree with Malcolm a little more. I'm pretty sure there's some things. I know there's things I do agree with Martin on, but when it comes to like, violence with violence, fire with fire, and turning the cheek and praying, because even though Martin prayed to a white Jesus, he got most of his influence from Gandhi, which was a peaceful man. But that's just not always the case, man. Turning the other cheek is just not the smartest thing to do when somebody's just continuously committing violence on you, and you can't just sit there and let somebody could just continuously commit violence on you without defending yourself or without running from it, And sometimes it takes violence to conquer violence, to stop a violence, to eliminate the violence that's being placed upon you. You know, I mean, to me, a person who just lets violence be placed upon them and doesn't try to defend themselves is a willing victim. You're a willing victim. You're a willing participant of victimhood. Like, you are basically wanting to be a victim, asking to be a victim. Because, I mean, you have to defend yourself or run away from violence. If not, you'll become a victim of violence. And if people know they can exhibit violence on you and they can dictate you and dominate you with violence and control you with violence and scare you and fear you with violence and, you know, have they will over you with violence, they will continue to do that. Especially a person who just always uses violence to put fear into people, to control people, to dictate and conquer people, you know. So yeah, I agree with Malcolm more than I did Martin. You got to fight fire with fire when it comes to violence. You know, if not, people continuously exhibit violence over you. And, you know, everybody, the laws of nature, screw the laws of man. The laws of nature always say that when somebody, you know, commits violence on you, by any means necessary, you know, what you have to do to defend yourself, you know, because you never know the intentions of people. That's the thing. You can never know the intentions of people. You know, it's like, I know they want you to know the pronouns of a complete stranger, but it's a complete horseshit. It's like it's the same way, like, it's a complete stranger. You can never know anybody's intentions if you never know them. If you know nothing about them, you can never know a person's intentions. And that's a big thing to know when you're talking about violence. What is a person's intentions when they're committing violence? Do they tend to harm you, kill you? Do they tend to just humiliate you? You know, if they tend to kill you, then you do what you have to by any means necessary. And you know, so yeah, man. The Ballad of the Bullet. I agree with Malcolm all day, every day. You know, so that's that, and that's coming from the perspective of a Caucasian male, a Anglo-Saxon Caucasian male with Irish and Scottish, Dutch ancestry, and maybe more. Who knows? Because we all come from somewhere else beyond America. We all have ancestors that come from Africa, Europe, Asia, Australia, you know, that side of the world before America was discovered. And not to mention, 1 out of every 200 people is related to Genghis Khan. You know, so there's that as well. So there's a lot of people fighting that's just related. All right, well, I want to thank y'all for tuning in. This was episode 132. And before I go, let me pull up a commercial for my podcast, the Paul Pickett Podcast. And then we're going to leave. It's your boy, the one and only Paul Pickett, host of the Paul Pickett Podcast, a.k.a. Triple P, that's a.k.a. the Common Sense Podcast, your source for music, sports, politics, world events, and more. Please check me out 3 to 4 days a week on my video podcast on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and Rumble. And check out the audio version on Spotify, Apple, Amazon, Deezer, TuneIn, Stitcher, Slacker, iHeartRadio, Player FM, and much more. Peace. See you there. You heard it from the horse's mouth. The one and only Paul Pickett, host of the Paul Pickett Podcast, episode 132. I want to thank you all for tuning in. Peace. And